Hi, everyone, and welcome to Good Morning Sunshine. It's a show we created based on mental health, mental strength, and just overall well-being. I'm one of your co-hosts today, Brandon Lee, alongside my good friend and colleague, Carrie Pena.
Thank you all so much for being with us. We want to start by asking you a question. When did you start to value and think about your mental health?
Yeah, well, I mean, put those in your comments, by the way, in the comment section here on YouTube. I know personally for me, it took a life traumatic experience for me to finally get into a wellness routine, but really start to deal with my mental health. That really began from childhood, but it took me until I was about age 40 to really do the true trauma healing work that I needed to do to reprocess those traumatic life events so that I can finally breathe again and be at peace.
And understand that's what you're identifying is mental health.
It's mental health.
And we have an amazing guest in studio, Elena Breeze, who is a mental health advocate. Thank you so much for being here.
This is
your second time on our show.
Yes, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you
and thank you for coming back and just even talking about, talking about that trauma. I think that's one of the first steps.
You survived a bomb attack. And it was such a traumatic experience for you. Your husband was running in a race. So just set the stage and then talk to us about where you are today.
And that was the Boston Marathon bombing.
The Boston Marathon,
yes. So I survived the Boston Marathon bombing. It's going to be 10 years this coming April. So it's crazy. It feels like a lifetime ago. I'm a different person today.
Yeah.
And then I was hospitalized 3.5 years after the bombing with PTSD symptoms. I really didn't know what was happening to me because many of the symptoms were physical. And it wasn't until I was hospitalized that I was diagnosed formally.
So I'm just curious, as any of the modalities that you've done, were any of those reprocessing those events?
Yes, I've been in EMDR therapy for 6 years now since my hospitalization. And I think part of the trick there also is finding the right practitioner who can help you.
Could not agree with you more on that.
Initially, I was with someone who just wasn't really the right person for me, and it took some time to find the right person so that I could get to that place that you're talking about.
It's really interesting what you're saying, and it's so important for those who are watching and listening to understand this, because I don't want somebody to give up if they don't have a good experience with the right therapist doing EMDR.
Yes.
Because just like I have such a profound connection with my shaman, my therapist who does my work is because I trust him.
Yes.
Tell folks about your website and why that's so important to you.
My website is Still Blooming Me, and the reason why I started it really was because I could not find an example of PTSD online that represented who I was. A lot of it at the time was military focused and veteran focused, and I couldn't see myself. That wasn't my experience with my trauma, but I was having the same symptoms. It doesn't matter what the trauma is, right? The symptoms are the same. So I just was inspired then to share, and it's really connected me to other survivors of terrorism and other survivors like yourself, Brandon, and it's helped me heal to share.
I'm so curious. You never turned to drugs or alcohol to numb out?
Never
I'm just
drugs.
wondering how you were able to kind of cope before you began to heal.
So the way I was coping before my hospitalization was I was using alcohol and caffeine to kind of prop me up.
Right.
But I wouldn't say I was using
A
alcohol
full-blown
every day.
alcoholic,
Right.
But you were using it to kind of calm yourself in that moment.
Yes. And so much of my healing journey also has been eliminating things.
Right. Okay.
People, substances, just things that don't serve me, right?
And because trauma comes in so many forms, I think you make a great point that, PTSD, now we know with all of the research that, that is something that is often attributed, rightfully so, to veterans, but it comes in many different forms. And so for someone who may have suffered trauma for any different reason, I mean, a divorce can be trauma.
Absolutely. A car accident.
A death can be trauma. I mean, these
It
things are like,
impacts us.
these are traumatic experiences. So what do you say to someone who might listen to you and say, I resonate with what she's saying.
Yes.
I want to get a hold of this. Where do you start?
Ooh, there are so many places to start, really, and it can be very overwhelming. I think to the best place to start is with yourself and to tap into what your natural gifts are and lean into those to propel you forward. For me, one of my gifts that I was born with is patience, and it has helped me so much on this journey. It's helped me to be very gentle with myself and just kind of be aware and present as I've healed. But I mean, starting with a resource like what you guys are doing here, or Still Blooming Me, starting with someone who you trust and asking them what has helped them in the past, and maybe something will resonate there too. Maybe a resource that they have or a tool that they have.
Be patient with yourself.
Be patient.
That's important.
And it's really important for other trauma survivors to understand and hear from, instead of just hearing from a clinician about a modality. It's understanding that, okay, you've walked in my shoes and this has worked for you, which is, I just give you so much credit because you've taken a traumatic life experience, healed from it, and now you are helping others through theirs.
I think seeing, you know, when I was at my sickest, I needed those physical examples of someone who had been through it before, and I could see that they were alive and they were thriving and they were doing their beautiful life. I needed to see that proof.
Yeah.
So if I can be that for someone else, it helps me heal too.
You are being that.
Thank
You
you.
are that.
That is healing,
Thank
right?
you. Yes.
When you can turn that sort of like horrible experience into something that matters and means something is really powerful. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Lena.
Thank
We
you.
love
Thank you,
having you on.
Brandon.
Yeah.
And now we want to look at our inspired stories. So we always spotlight one of our segments that we do on our various podcasts. And I interviewed a gentleman by the name of Ron Blake, and he's a sex assault survivor, and he was actually suicidal until one night he woke up randomly because his TV was on, and it was the Colbert Show. And he said that it made him, like, he started to laugh. And he realized in that moment that he still had purpose on this earth because he had this laughter in this moment. So he shared that story with us on our podcast.
November 2nd of 2015 is the moment that you're referring to. I woke up from, and I use this word, yet another nightmare, not just a nightmare, yet another one, because I had been going through just a series of these for so many months, years. On that particular night, when I woke up from that nightmare, I just said, I can't do this anymore. You know, it's not that you want to die. You just don't want the pain anymore. And it's just, it's really hard to describe. I mean, I've had so many years to be able to put it in words, and it's almost something you can't describe, that kind of pain. So I got the pills out. I had my water bottle next to me, and I did look up, and my television was on. It might have been 11, maybe a little before midnight. And I saw this show on, and I didn't know if I was still in the nightmare, because I thought, why is this on? Because every night I'd set the timer, and every night it'd go off.
Your TV would go off.
Yes.
And this
And
particular night, your TV stayed on.
it stayed on. And I realized I'm not in the nightmare anymore. I'm actually up. And I looked at the television, and it was this comedy show. It's called The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And something made me laugh. And I remember I paused the show, and I thought, there's still something good in me. And it was this, I tell my friends, I tell family, or if I speak to audiences, I said, I'll leave it up to you what happened. But for me, I'm this Catholic guy, and I always felt like there was this moment, like it was this very spiritual moment. And even for my atheist and agnostic friends, they think the universe intervened that night. Something happened. And I know I'm here today because of that. And so that began this, what we'll probably share, this, I guess that night I was in some ways not saying this directly, but it was like, what's next? And that was my what was next. It was the impetus to begin this journey that's what led me to you.
I'm so glad that Ron's story too has gotten so much attention because he's so honest about it. It's a hard story to tell, but he talks about how just that moment of laughter kind of shook him out of that moment that he was in, that dark, dark space.
It's always just that it could be just this little triggering moment to just get you out of your headspace, and almost you get this flash of reality,
Right.
And this flash of purpose, and you're like, no, I can't do this, and that was just that moment
Just
he
that
needed
moment, yeah.
in order to break him free from, possibly even ending his own life.
Isn't that amazing?
It is incredible. It's a great story, that is, and the podcast available, right, on
Yes.
YouTube and your
Yes,
website.
Our podcast is the next chapter.
Okay. We had a chance to sit down. If you haven't heard of Mind 24/7, they're based here right now in Arizona. They're building out more clinics in Nevada. They're essentially the new urgent care for mental health, right? They make it easy, accessible, and very affordable if you're ever in a mental health crisis. Well, the founder is Jeff Speight, one of the co-founders, and he has his own lived experience of trauma in his own life, and that has really helped fuel his passion to creating different clinical modalities to help people heal from their traumas. And today we had a chance to sit down and chat with him about what are the different modalities that we can all be aware of to help our families heal.
Jeff Speight in studio with us. Thank you so much for being here.
So excited to be here.
We're talking today about the mental health journey. You are an expert. You are the founder and CEO of Mind 24/7. When you realize that you or someone you love has a mental health problem, where do you begin? How does that journey begin?
That's such a great question, Carrie. I think a lot of people have a hard time figuring out how to enter the system. Most people can't tell you the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist. And so to put the onus on the general population to figure out what kind of help they need is truly a challenge too great in most cases. People need to find guides that they can trust, that can help them understand what are their options, what kinds of help are out there, and what should be their expectations as to which path they end up choosing. It's important to go find that stuff out, or you will find yourself frustrated and bouncing around, right? I think the other piece that people need to understand, that mental health is largely this patchwork quilt of solutions that people have created, very specific clinics for very particular kinds of patients. And as such, it's hard to figure out where to enter into it, right? And so finding those guides, finding those individuals who are aware of lots of different things that are out there and being able to contact them and talk to them is really, for me, the best way that you should think about doing that.
Mind 24/7 is urgent care essentially for mental health. And you are franchising fast and growing fast. So there is a great need. Why did you start this?
Honestly, it's the same thing that you just talked about. We're trying to be the front door for the system. Most people go to the emergency room if you're in real acute need. Most people will spend weeks waiting for a therapist or some kind of psychiatric appointment if they don't think it's that needed right away. Yet most people don't enter in the right place, right? So by Mind 24/7 being this front door that's easy, accepts everybody, regardless of your situation. And we have those professionals, those guides, who can help you figure out where to go.
And your goal, if you were to state it in one line, is what?
Just to give everybody mental health care in minutes, right? How can we make it easy for you? And it's whether it's just walking through a door or picking up a phone, how can we make it easy for you to get help and get directed to where you need to go?
Jeff Speight, CEO of Mind 24/7, thank you for the work you're doing. And we will put all of the information about Mind 24/7 there on the screen. I like the fact, too, that you don't shake people down for insurance the second they hit your door.
Yeah, we go back to that whole part. You got to reduce the barriers, right?
Yeah.
And finance can be one of those barriers. Let's get you the help, and then let's figure out how we deal with the rest of that.
You guys are doing great work. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carrie.
I give Jeff and his entire team so much credit for what how they've been so innovative within the mental health community, and they found out that there was a lack of need of something, and so they filled that void, and it really is becoming the urgent care for mental health, whether you have small children, whether anybody in your family. And here's the thing, whether you're insured or uninsured, they will take you. They will not say no.
Well, his tagline is just walk through the door, right?
Just walk through the door,
Yeah.
and they will help you.
And Jeff, we've had the good fortune to get to know him, and we're creating actually a docu-series with Mind 24/7 talking about the necessity of this type of mental health urgent care, both in Arizona, where we're filming right now, and across the country. So you can find some links in this YouTube video, as well as going to mind247.com to learn more about all of their services. And just can't give enough credit to a CEO who takes not only, a good business plan, but also is so heart-centric and cares so much about what he's doing.
And in just a year and a half times that they've been open, they're already having a huge impact on so many families.
Yes. So thank you so much, Jeff, for sitting down with us. And now we want to talk to our executive producer, Christina DeLoma. Okay, wait, did the camera get that? Because I don't know if they got your head shake. Because I always love your head shake. Let's do it again.
Okay.
Start
Unreal.
again.
Yeah, here we
And
go.
now we want to go to our executive producer, Christina DeLoma. Yes, she always does the head shake. So she's here to share the sunshine story. And you always find these great moments on TikTok, Instagram, just people who are spreading sunshine. So what is it today?
So when we're talking about mental health, one of the things that is hardest is finding that time and making the time and not having the excuse of, oh, da, 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 da. So what's cool is that a lot of us go to the hairdresser or hair salon, and now they are known for chatting your ear off or for like getting the good gab, but instead they're doing something called silent appointments. So the note of when you book your salon appointment, whether it's a nail salon or a hair salon, is to ask for a silent appointment. So instead of being asked about your day or any of those types of things, it's a safe space where you can just sit, have someone, take you in a place of relaxation, and you're just enjoying the moment, and you can take your mental health breath of the day.
That is amazing.
Isn't it so cool? Like a place
Yes.
you're gonna
Because let me tell you something. That, Christina, is the one thing I dread every time I go to get my dang haircut. It's like, yo, I don't want to talk, but I don't want to be rude.
Right.
Because I go to the same gal every time. She's like, oh my God, catch me up on your life. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, no, really, I've been on all day and I just want to be in silence, but you don't want to be rude.
No, you don't. Because it's like the thing, and everyone around you is chatting, so it's that pressure of like, yeah, whatever, everything's fine. And then it's like, no, it's not. I just really want to just be here in a moment of silence. And you can
Right.
just book that.
Do you do that? Don't they do that on like ride sharing now? Can you
Oh, yeah.
request a silent
You can
ride?
request,
You
like,
can.
don't talk
Because
to
how
me.
many of us have a good Uber or Waymo
I always
story?
feel
and you
so
get in there
bad.
and you're like, dude, man, seriously, like it's 7 a.m. I'm just trying to go to the airport. I haven't even had a cup of coffee
Can you
yet, bro.
imagine coming home from a breakup and they're like, so how's your day going? Fine.
Maybe we should do that, not do it as a joke, just to see what their reaction is. Actually, my life is terrible right now, and I'm going through this, and then just watch their reaction, and then maybe they'll go silent.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, but I mean, I dye my hair, I got a whole cut, so I'm there for not 5
You're
minutes,
there
like
for a long
good
time. Yeah, so you can book the appointment to be silent.
A silent appointment, and
All
they'll
right.
honor that and make your mental health state just a little bit of peace.
So
in
the
day.
thing about mental health is honoring whatever is right for you in
Exactly.
that moment and not feeling that you have
I
to.
have to imagine,
Yeah.
even the hairstylist would probably like that too, right?
Oh, they can do so many things. If
I was a
No, because
hairstylist, I'm like,
they
great.
probably don't even want to listen to all the stuff
I
that's
wouldn't.
being
Yeah. I'm
fed
like,
to them
good.
all
all
day.
the judgmental people, they're
Yeah.
like, no, I can't.
A silent appointment, perfect. I'll take all those.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Christina.
My
pleasure.
Sunshine Story, and thanks to all of you for watching Good Morning Sunshine.
That's right, and since you're here on our YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, hit that little bell notification symbol. We will alert you every time we upload a new episode of Good Morning Sunshine. We'll see you back here for the next episode.
Take care.